All right, so today we're going to dive into this pretty disturbing story.
Yeah,
It's a real head scratcher.
it is.
It happened in Torres, Brazil.
Okay.
Um, and basically imagine like a family getting together for the holidays, right? Like the Christmas Eve dinner.
Sure.
And, everyone's excited.
Well,
There's this homemade cake and everything's, looking festive.
right.
But then, like, within hours,
Yeah.
people start getting sick,
Oh, wow.
really sick.
Yeah.
And tragically, like, 3 family members end up dying.
Oh, my goodness.
Like within 24 hours of this meal.
So fast.
It's crazy, right?
Wow, that's just unbelievable.
Yeah, so we're going to unpack all this.
Okay.
Try to figure out what happened,
Yeah.
So from what I've gathered, the cake was made by this 61-year-old woman, Zeli Terezinha Silva dos Anjos.
Okay.
And she shared it with her 2 sisters, Nusa and Maida, and then her niece, Tatiana, and all 3 of them, sadly, died shortly after this Christmas Eve meal.
Wow.
Yeah. But here's the thing.
Yeah.
3 other family members also got sick,
Okay.
and they were hospitalized, including Zeli, the woman who actually baked the cake.
Oh, so she ate it too.
Yeah, she ate it too, and a 10-year-old boy as well.
Oh, gosh.
So right away, investigators were kind of stumped.
Yeah.
Like, what's going on here?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, was it just, food poisoning?
Yeah.
Like, something went bad in the cake?
Right.
Or was there something more sinister going on?
Right. Like, did someone intentionally put something in the cake?
Exactly.
Wow.
So, initially, they really didn't know what was going on.
It's got to be so hard to figure out where to even begin with something like this, right?
Right?
Like you just said, it could be so many things.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're dealing with something as serious as this, multiple deaths,
Right.
I imagine it's really tough to narrow it down. So what was the first, break in the case?
Well, the first clue, I guess you could say,
Yeah.
came when they found traces of arsenic in the bodies of those 3 women.
Arsenic. Wow.
Yeah.
Now that's a pretty well-known poison, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Like, that's not something you usually just stumble across. Like, how did that even get into the cake?
Right.
Do we know?
Well, that's the big question. I
Yeah.
mean, is arsenic something that, you would typically find in someone's house?
I mean, not usually, just lying around in its pure form.
Right.
But arsenic can actually be present in some pretty surprising places, believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah. So, I mean, you've got things like pesticides, maybe contaminated water,
Mm-hmm.
even certain types of pressure-treated wood can contain arsenic.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, it could be environmental, it could be accidental, or, it could be deliberate.
Yeah.
That's the really scary part, right?
Yeah.
Like, someone could have, purposely poisoned them.
Exactly. That's just awful.
So, I mean, this is where things take kind of a bizarre turn.
Okay.
Because the authorities actually decided to exhume the body of Zeli's husband.
Oh, wow. What?
Yeah, Paulo Luis.
Okay.
Who had died a few months earlier in September.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, they thought he had died from food poisoning.
Right.
But now, with the arsenic discovery,
Yeah.
they're like, wait a minute.
Could there be a connection
Could there be a connection?
between the 2 deaths?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so now they're trying to see if maybe there's a larger pattern here,
Right. Like, is this a coincidence?
Yeah.
Exactly. Or is there something more going on?
Right.
And what about the rest of the family?
Well, they searched the family's home.
Yeah.
And they found all this expired food, like mayonnaise that was like a year old.
Oh, yuck.
And this medicine bottle with a missing capsule and like some weird white liquid in it.
That's pretty suspicious, isn't it?
Yeah, it sounds really bad. Like, on the surface, it definitely seems like, something's not right.
Right. But then we have Zeli,
Yeah.
the woman who baked the cake,
Yeah.
saying that, no, she bought all the ingredients from a store.
You hear?
She didn't poison anybody.
Okay.
And she even ate 2 slices of the cake herself.
Right. She was the first one to get sick.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's kind of hard to believe that she would poison herself.
Yeah, and that's what I'm thinking.
Right.
And you mentioned earlier that there wasn't any, family drama.
Yeah, there was no indication of like a dispute.
No inheritance issues, nothing like that.
Right. No motive.
Yeah, so it just adds to the mystery.
It does.
So, I know the authorities confirmed the causes of death for 3 of the victims.
Okay.
So Tatiana and Maida, they died from cardiac arrest.
Okay.
And then Nusa Her death was listed as shock after food poisoning.
So could cardiac arrest be linked to arsenic poisoning?
Well, it definitely can.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, basically arsenic really messes with your cells.
Uh-huh.
And it can, disrupt your heart's electrical system.
Okay.
So that can lead to arrhythmias.
Mm-hmm.
And in really bad cases, cardiac arrest.
Oh, gosh.
And then as far as, the shock after food poisoning thing,
Yeah.
I mean, it probably means that, their blood pressure just, totally plummeted.
Wow.
Because their bodies were just, freaking out from the toxins.
Right.
And that can lead to organ failure.
So basically their body just, shut down.
Pretty much.
Oh, man, that's really scary.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
It's just crazy how, a simple family dinner can turn into something so, so tragic.
I know, right?
It's a reminder to, be grateful for the moments we have and also to be careful about, food safety.
Absolutely.
But it makes you wonder, what happens next?
Right, what's the next step in the investigation?
Yeah, where do they even go from here?
Well, they're going to be looking at everything, the cake ingredients, where they came from, examining that expired food we talked about.
Right, and the medicine bottle.
Yeah, and of course, the results of the husband's exhumation, those are going to be huge.
Yeah, this could be a game changer for sure.
For sure. And we also have to remember that Zeli and the 10-year-old boy.
Right, they're still in the hospital.
Yeah, they're still hospitalized, so hopefully they'll pull through.
I hope so.
And maybe we can, shed some light on what happened.
Yeah, maybe they saw something or, remember something that can help the investigation.
It's just such a sad situation,
It really is.
This family getting together for what should be a happy occasion, and it turned deadly.
It's just heartbreaking.
And we still don't know why.
It's a real mystery.
Yeah.
But it makes you think,
About what?
About, how fragile life is, and how we really should cherish every moment with our loved ones. Because you never know what tomorrow might bring.
You really don't.
And, it also makes you think about food safety.
Oh, absolutely.
We should all be really careful about how we prepare and store food.
Yeah, you never know what could be lurking in your kitchen.
Exactly.
So, this case is just a reminder that, sometimes even the most ordinary things, like a homemade cake,
right,
can have really tragic consequences.
It's a sobering thought, for sure.
It is.
But it's an important one.
It is.
We have to be aware of the potential dangers, even in the things we take for granted.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, on that note, I guess we'll have to wait and see what the investigation uncovers.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Hopefully we'll get some answers soon.
I hope so, for the sake of the family and for everyone who's been touched by this tragedy.
I agree.
All right, well, that's our deep dive for today.
Until next time.
Stay safe, everyone.
Yeah, stay safe out there.